Avengers Assemble! Today we are looking at the Hasbro Iron Man 2 3 3/4 inch figure line. This is the Iron Man Mark V armor, better known as the suitcase armor. Now you might be having a little bit of deja vu right now because, you know what? I've reviewed this guy already. This was one of the first Marvel figures I ever picked up, and it's been quite a long road since then. This was one of the figures that got me hooked. This guy and the Marvel Universe Colossus. The reason I'm doing this review again is because, well, I just went back and watched that other one to decide if I needed to do it again. And yeah, that review is pretty bad. It was still pretty early in the channel, and I was bored watching it, so I can only imagine other people were probably pretty darn bored watching that review too. So, seeing as we're doing the Avengers series, I figured it's a perfect opportunity, pick this guy back up and do another review. This guy's display stand, standard fare here. And we have his armor cards. Same old thing we always get with these. For his ridiculous accessory, this one at least makes a little bit more sense. We have the suitcase armor, or at least the suitcase itself. It's not exactly movie accurate, but it has a vague resemblance to the one used in the movie. Over on the side here, we have a little flap we can pull down, and you can see the inner workings. Even though they're not really all that painted, it's still kind of a nice touch that you could put it on the ground and pretend he was getting in the armor. Although I gotta say, this would be a lot cooler if we'd ever gotten a normal Tony Stark, a race car Tony Stark. Hell, even if we gotten the Happy Hogan, it would have fit in a little bit better. No real reason why Iron Man would be with the suitcase when he already has the armor on. I'm not even sure if the suitcase still exists when he has the armor on. I don't remember if it leaves a husk on the ground or if the whole thing is the armor. So, not exactly the best accessory, but still cool to have. That's cool that this opens up. They did a decent job of getting it symmetrical on both sides. You can see the plugs here where the missiles are coming out are replicated over on this side for nice symmetry. And there's the big blue triangle here. They got a slightly smaller one over here. It looks like if they could have painted the rest of this, it would have made out to be about the same size. So, that's a pretty cool feature. As I mentioned before, the missiles are big, huge, honking things. And we can sit here, press the button, fire 1, and fire 2. Now what's kind of cool about this is you can hold the button down and shoot both. Overall, I'll keep the suitcase on display with Iron Man, not keeping the missiles on display. It's a decent accessory though, I'm not complaining about it. And on to the figure himself. This is a really, really cool armor design. This one is another peg warmer in the set, though. I think they overestimated how cool people would think this armor is and figured everyone would feel the need to buy about 7 of these, judging by how many I've seen on the market. It is a really cool armor. It's a really neat design, but it's an overabundance of this figure I've seen most of the time. My biggest gripe with this guy is the chest armor is wrong. You can see the triangle around his arc reactor. Well, in the movie it wasn't a triangle. It had, I think, about 2 more sides that were up here. It's not accurate to the movie, and they've done like 8 different versions of this guy, or it feels like 8 at this point, and they've never corrected that issue, so that's a bit of a bummer. But outside of that, the sculpting is pretty darn nice. We have all those cool scales going up and down the armor, giving it a really nice definition. It contrasts well with the armor plates, and there is a lot of depth going on here, showing the way the armor's overlapped itself. Really, really cool scaly look going on with it. The detail continues down to the legs. Now, one thing in the movie, this armor, being that it is a smaller armor, kind of did give the illusion that it was a thinner suit than the normal Iron Man suits. This figure is about the same size as the normal Iron Man buck. I can't really expect them to make a subtle change like that, I don't think. The head sculpt is kind of what we've had before. Still nicely done and looks good in the new coloration. On the palm of his hand here, you can see his little arc booster, ready to shoot Whiplash in the face. Even on the bottom of his feet, we once again have detail down there. Really nice that they put those touches in. I think a lot of companies would have missed that, and it's really nice to see them go the extra mile. But overall, the armor looks really nice outside of that arc reactor problem up here. The fist hand over here is removable. You can pluck it off and replace it with the other hand. Now this hand is semi-open. You can see it even still has the reactor in there. I'm assuming it's meant to carry the suitcase. I don't know why Iron Man would carry around his own suitcase while in the armor. But whatever, it's kind of neat that they gave us interchangeable hands. Though I would have liked to see more interchangeable hands with him. I would have liked to see hands that made him look like he was going to take off. Maybe not on this figure, but on another figure. And maybe dual open hands look like he was going to blast. Just some extra details I think would have made a lot of difference with a lot of these figures. So it's a little disappointing just to have the fist and the holding suitcase hand. For articulation, he has a ball-jointed head. Not a whole lot of up and down movements, as it is the Iron Man 2 buck, where it's limited in the back there, but a good side to side. He has pin socket shoulders, so you could rotate all the way around, and they will go up, but it is a bit tricky. At least on mine, the shoulders are a little bit puffy, and they're a little bit of a softer plastic. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but you have to get them to rotate into the hole where his shoulder is. If you just try to push them up, they're going to hit. You almost have to get them in behind and rotate them out. It's a little bit of a pain. He can bend and rotate at the elbow, rotate at the wrist. He has the ball joint at the mid-torso, the standard Marvel movie figure legs with the ball and swivel. Swivel up the upper leg, bend the knee at 2 points. You can bend the ankle and rotate the foot. All in all, the Mark V armor is pretty cool looking. Kind of became the iconic armor out of Iron Man 2. I think honestly the cooler fight in the movie is done in this armor right here. Overall, the figure's decent. I mean, a lot of the same that we got with the other Iron Men in this wave. Nothing too much to set it apart. But at the end of it all, it's still a cool figure. It's still a well-done figure. And I'm going to recommend it. He's definitely going to stand out amongst other Iron Men. So he has a good enough, unique look that I think he's worth a pickup. And the good part about this guy too is I think they made a lot of him because he's pretty easy to come by. You can get him in several different multi-packs or single carded. It's pretty darn easy to find. Overall, he's a pretty good figure. And now that I've finished this review, I will promise you I will never review the 3 3/4 inch Mark V single carded figure ever again. This has been another Outside the Box review. And stay with us as we continue to count down to Avengers.